believe they're already making a new Nintendo Switch? Hey everybody, I'm Jammer, and let's talk about something that's been going on these last couple of weeks. There's been some rumors, there's been some talk of Switch revision. Fans of the community kind of came up with the idea a little while back as like, thinking about going ahead to the future of the Switch. Is like, what are they going to do with the console? Are we going to be staying with the same Switch this entire lifespan? Are they going to do any revisions? Are there things we could hope to see in a new Switch Pro or something like that? But in the recent weeks, there has actually been a rumor talking about, yeah, maybe a Switch Pro could be coming out within this year or even as soon as this summer. A few weeks passed, and another rumor came up talking about, on the other side of things, saying, no, sorry, I made a mistake, not a Switch Pro. It's actually a Switch Mini. And this one's going to be a budget console, not beefed up. It's actually downgraded, made cheaper, so then it's an easier entry point. And then just barely this week, no, actually, we were wrong again. Both of them were coming. Oh, actually, they're coming this summer. This report by the Wall Street Journal is real or not. I thought it would be a great time to talk about the potential of a Switch revision. Does it make sense to bring a Switch Pro, a Switch Mini, or both this year? Let's talk about that. We are on the third year of the Nintendo Switch, and the momentum for sales for the console has been exponential since release. It's been going crazy, as there's no secret to anyone. But it's bound to slow down eventually. Software has been doing a great job pushing hardware sales as much as possible. First year with Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey. Second year, obviously, with the biggest bomb of them all being Smash Brothers. And then, of course, this year we have Super Mario Maker 2, the new Pokemon game, and stuff like that to continue to push the sales of the console. But of course, there's no way that Nintendo could keep up the momentum alone just like that. And a great way to keep the buzz of a console, the great way to keep it in the mind of players, stuff like that, is to bring console revisions. And this is nothing new to the gaming industry. The PS4 received the revision of the PS4 Pro. That was 3 years after the original console release. Xbox One received the revision of the Xbox One S. That was actually 4 years after the original console release. But if we look more on the Nintendo side of things, you'll see a lot of parallels with this whole situation regarding this. But if you look at the 3DS, and if this split for the Nintendo Switch is true, being, the Nintendo Switch Pro and a Nintendo Switch Mini, I think it very well mirrors what we've already seen with the Nintendo 3DS. On one hand, we have the new 3DS. It had a little extra horsepower. It could run some games better, better frame rates for Smash and stuff. And then the console itself did get some revisions, such as the bigger screen, the addition of the nub, or the little C-stick thing that could be used for Smash Brothers, as well as games like Xenoblade Chronicles, there to move the camera. Beyond that, there was a built-in UFC reader on the touchscreen that was compatible with Amiibo. It was a case where the console got some improvements. It fixed some shortcomings here and there. It made some more convenience features for, people who use Amiibo for the Happy Home Designer game or even Smash Brothers instead of having to buy the external peripheral, right? Then on the other hand, they had the 2DS, which was a cheaper, discounted model of the 3DS. No longer had the clamshell design, was one solid piece of gaming hardware, already making it cheaper there. But the biggest thing, which is in the name, by the way, is it got rid of the main gimmick of the 3DS. Did you hear what I said? It got rid of the main gimmick of the entire console. The 2DS removed the entire ability to be able to play these 3DS games, to have the ability to play in 3D. They're no longer there. They're all strictly 2D games. This is a very important note to think about. We will be touching on this very soon. Keep that in mind. So let's talk about the Switch Pro and some features I could definitely see them kind of bringing along with it. Going off what we've already barely talked about with the 3DS, as well as other consoles revisions prior, I think it's safe to say there'll of course be some extra horsepower for this. There'll be enhanced graphics or enhanced frame rate capabilities. Nothing too significant over what the Switch already offers. No giant leap over the Switch, but just enough to enhance it a little bit, The onboard storage itself could be bigger. Its standard comes with a 32 gigabytes, perhaps maybe 64 or even 128. I don't know if necessarily be that big, especially with the addition of, you can use the micro SD storage to store almost up to 300 gigs worth of stuff. Then as far as the built-in screen, currently it is a 720p screen. Perhaps maybe enhance that and maybe make that an HD 1080p screen rather than 720. I mean, when you're playing on handheld, 720p is totally fine anyways. It doesn't really make too much of a difference as it is, but maybe it's just another thing they do and improve alongside this, Nintendo Switch Pro. Just another added feature. Beyond that, I'm not sure. I mean, they maybe could add some new hardware stuff, such as maybe like a microphone or something. Or maybe the mic is used for voice chat purposes, while the other consoles have their solution with the mobile app and whatever. Maybe the Switch Pro can run it with in the console itself. You don't have to worry about connecting your smartphone. People are always kind of upset when it comes to revisions, like improved versions of consoles, because there's always the argument,
well, I just bought this one, I don't want to have to now go buy the next one.
Or you feel robbed of the opportunity. It's like,
okay, I just bought my Switch, you know, I didn't know there was going to be this brand new one coming out. I would have rather just bought the brand new one, right?
It always kind of sucks, but that's just how consumerism works. You know, you got the iPhones, and the next year the new iPhone's out. As I've just barely been talking about, Xbox and PlayStation have done it. Nintendo 3DS has done it. It's just how it works. Console revisions, technology revisions, they're always bound to happen. And I think this console would be more targeted towards those avid video game fans where they want to be having the best of the best. They want to have the newest stuff, the newest technology. They're the people who want to be on this console. And that's why it makes sense to be a little more expensive than a standard Switch. As far as price point though, it might be even $400, $100 more than the regular Switch. But if it's only 50 bucks, if it's like $350 rather than $300, it's like, there's really no reason to buy the regular Switch then. If the Switch Pro is everything the Switch is, but better, and it's only shell an extra 50 bucks, like, it makes the regular Switch completely redundant at that point. I think if they put enough things in the Switch Pro, market it at a $400 price point, maybe more, but I think that's the golden line, right? But add enough new features to it to warrant that new extra $100 price point. Now let's talk about the other side of the coin, the Nintendo Switch Mini. Obviously, in the name itself, it would be something smaller, something a lot more portable. Yes, the Switch is great that it is portable, but the case itself is like this big. I mean, it's nothing that could fit in your pocket. And of course, it can fit in your backpack, but it still takes up a pretty sizable room. So basically, the Switch is portable, but not that portable. A 3DS is way more portable than a Switch has ever been. So I think that's the solution they're trying to solve here with the Switch Mini. So the Switch Mini is trying to be marketed as a budget console. So they need to find ways to kind of lower the price of the Switch, right? And still maintain it so you can still play your Switch games. One great way to do that is just get rid of the dock. That already saves money, not having to package that in with the Switch when you sell it. But I'm gonna go as far as to say, what if they completely remove the ability for the Nintendo Switch Mini to dock at all? I know, it's crazy. It's way too crazy. But remember what I just said? Remember I said a little bit ago? How the 2DS completely removed the main gimmick of the 3DS. We could see a similar thing here where the Nintendo Switch Mini completely removes the main gimmick of the Nintendo Switch. Yes, it is a pretty big sacrifice, but that's the whole point of what this Nintendo Switch Mini is trying to capture. It's trying to be a budget version of the Switch, still give you the ability to play all of the Nintendo Switch's software. Perhaps they could even remove the HD rumble within the controllers, because I know those are a very expensive addition, and are the reason why all the controllers on the Nintendo Switch are at a higher price point than the rest of the competitors in the gaming industry right now. But on the topic of Joy-Cons, I mean, are these Joy-Cons on the Switch Mini, would they be even removable at all? Because if they're making the screen a little bit smaller, making the Switch itself a little bit smaller, you know, the width of a Joy-Con is the width of the screen. So if you make the screen any smaller to, you know, make the width of it shorter, right? That also makes the height of it shorter. What are you gonna have, just like overhang for the Joy-Cons? Or the Joy-Cons themselves gonna get smaller? If they get any smaller, it's like, when you disconnect them, you're gonna... What? So perhaps these Joy-Cons can't be removed. What if it is one solid block, like a 2DS, where it's just one piece of technology? That's really the only solution I can think of. If they're making the Switch smaller, I mean, the controllers themselves can't be the same size anymore, because they're already this perfect size to be the height of how big the Switch is in handheld mode. I know all this kind of sounds upsetting about a Switch Mini. I mean, it's removing a lot of the core features of this console. But this console is budgeted towards a specific audience of gamers. This is the budget version of the Switch. This is for kids. And if this report is true, this would be amazing if they can get this out before the launch of Pokemon later this year. There are a ton of younger fans, younger kids who play that series who, you know, bought a Nintendo 3DS so they could play the Pokemon games. And parents looking for a budget way to get their kids to have their kids be able to play these games, you know, maybe opt for a 2DS instead, because it's an easier, cheaper option for them, the kids, to play. And I think that's where the Nintendo Switch Mini comes in. The 3DS, as we all know, is slowing down and will probably be done by the end of this year, right? I think that Nintendo Switch Mini would be trying to capture that audience, the audience of the younger fans, the people on a budget just looking to play the Switch in any way they can. But even beyond that, the fans who just use the Switch as a handheld primarily anyways. I know I've heard a lot of people saying they use their Switch as basically just a home console and they barely ever, you know, take it out of the house. But I've also heard the other side of the coin where I heard a lot of people who they play on the go constantly. And that's really what they mostly use their Switch for. And this would be a perfect solution for them as well. If this is true, I think this is a great move for Nintendo. Nintendo. Both of these consoles are going to continue to push the momentum of hardware sales of the Switch. It's going to continue keeping that fire underneath the Nintendo Switch right now. The Switch Pro and a Switch Mini would greatly reflect the split with the new Nintendo 3DS and the 2DS was one of the great reasons why the 3DS had such a successful lifespan as a console, because it encompassed such a large audience of gamers. The new 3DS for the more avid gamers, the one who want the most optimal and higher quality experience. The 2DS for then budget gamers as well as younger fans. The Nintendo Switch doing something similar will only be to its benefit. But with every console revision, there's always some controversy, right? You know, the Nintendo Switch Pro kind of making your regular Switch feel more redundant, but it's there to upgrade. That's the whole point, you know? Or for people who have been holding off for some reason, now have a great way to enter into the Switch saying, hey, this is the very best Switch we have. This will be the best for many years to come. This is the one you want to get now. It can kind of push the hand of people who are on the fence of adopting for now, what, 2.5 years now, to finally get into the Switch ecosystem. Then on the other hand, you have the Switch Mini, a great option for younger fans, for kids to play their Pokemons. But beyond that, just a better solution to being a handheld console, being able to take that on the go. So I honestly think the Pro and the Mini are very likely things to happen. And with the report saying it might be as soon as this summer, I think it actually might be pretty likely. It makes a lot of sense if you really break it down, what each console can offer and what their audience is for each version. I'm curious, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on a Switch Pro? What kind of features would you hope it would have for you to want to even upgrade? Or your ideas on a Switch Mini and how they could reduce costs to make that a more budget-friendly option. Let me know all that in the comments below. Be sure to give this video a big awesome like, and if you haven't already, definitely subscribe for tons more on Nintendo Switch, potentially the announcement of these consoles if it happens, and Nintendo Switch. Thanks again, guys, so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya!